Now, after the NBA Finals and streaming on CrossroadsToday.com, a popular party venue in Victoria suddenly closes, leaving customers with unanswered questions. A Victoria man faces sex abuse of a child charges in Lavaca County. And a local job fair draws dozens of job seekers with hundreds of openings.
It may be quiet right now, but it's not quiet up north. As you can see right here, another blob of storms headed in our direction. We'll have the latest for you coming up in a moment.
And Victoria Generals tonight honored Warriors Weekend with their game versus the River Monsters. We'll highlight all the game and the pregame activities later on.
You're watching 25 News now after the NBA Finals. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker. Shauna Curry is off tonight. This is an alert day after an early morning storm. Let's go to Mac Pettis with a first look at the forecast and the latest, Mac, on that blob you were talking about.
Yes, it's another blob of stormy weather headed in our direction. Here you are, okay? See all these counties? They're already under a flash flood watch because of additional showers that are rolling in. You're wondering, where are they coming from? Well, first, they're coming from the Gulf. You can see this big section of storms just about to roll in to Port O'Connor. So my friend Susan there needs to get ready for that stormy weather. All of Matagorda Bay and Matagorda County is going to be seeing that. But this is the main event right about here. Another line of storms. I can get real technical on it. It's a mesoscale convective cyclone here. That is going to be rolling toward us. Now, where is it? It's over Fredericksburg right about now. You can see Austin right here, and you can see the thunderstorms getting very close to that area. So once that crosses over at about midnight, it's going to be here 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. So another round of stormy weather in the morning hours, and we'll have more details on how long this is going to last coming up in a few minutes. Don, back to you.
Mac, thank you. Tuesday night, we showed you the story of a woman who booked a local party spot for a family event. The building she booked closed. So far, she's not been refunded the money she paid to reserve the building. And that woman is not alone. 25 News Now weekend anchor Amaya Norman has more. Amaya?
Yeah, Don, Bravo Party Center was once a go-to spot for celebration in Victoria, but now its doors are locked and its future is uncertain. For people like Kiana Canales, it's not just about losing a venue, it's about losing memories that were supposed to be made. Canales says she booked the space last year for a joint birthday party with her mother and paid a $475 deposit, but with the venue now shut down, that celebration may never happen. A notice posted on the door says the business is closed due to a default on lease terms. And now multiple customers who had events scheduled here are left scrambling for answers and asking the same question: where is our money? And Canales isn't the only one. Other residents in the community who also booked events with Bravo Party Center says they have reached out multiple times but haven't gotten a clear response or their money back. The owner of Bravo Party Center tells 25 News Now he's working to resolve the issue and address customers' concerns, but it's still unclear when, if ever, the business will reopen or when refunds will be issued. We've reached out to the landlord for comments and are still waiting to hear back. In the meantime, families across the community are left with canceled plans, empty promises, and growing frustrations. Don, back to you.
Amaya, thank you. Workforce Solutions hosted a job fair for those in need of a job. There were over 200 positions open and 125 job seekers at today's event. Workforce Solutions Director Henry Guajardo says you should look for a job that best suits your schedule and skills, along with something you enjoy.
We are very pleased that we had that many job seekers come out to apply for some of the positions that are currently open with these employers.
Job seekers are encouraged to stop by any of the workforce centers in the Crossroads. And here is your viewer poll tonight. What matters most when choosing a job? A flexible schedule, good pay, or doing something you enjoy, or opportunity to grow? Again, overwhelmingly, the voters say 62% doing something you enjoy. We want to hear from you. Visit crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part, and we thank you for voting. Seadrift Alderman Paul Gonzalez is keeping his seat as a city council member there. A statement was sent to 25 News Now stating that Gonzalez performed duties that crossed a legal line. When he first glanced at the letter, he was fearful that he might have broken the law. Apparently, all requests need to go through Seadrift's city attorney before anything is released. The matter was addressed in City Council Tuesday night, and Gonzalez remains on the City Council. A Victoria man faces a charge in Lavaca County of sexual abuse of a child, continuous victim under the age of 14. Victoria Police Tuesday served an arrest warrant from Lavaca County on 48-year-old Augustine Pineda. He was at a business residence in the 2000 block of Port Lavaca Drive. Pineda was also charged with possession of drug paraphernalia. He is in the Victoria County Jail in lieu of bonds totaling $250,350. At 7 this morning, Victoria Police contacted a parent about his missing daughters. An investigation found that his 16-year-old and 15-year-old daughters were last seen on Tuesday at about 5 p.m. at their home in the 900 block of Linwood Drive. The 15-year-old is 5'7", 180 pounds, with long dark brown hair and a heart tattoo on her left hand and the word or name Devin, D-E-V-I-N, tattooed on the outside of her left thumb. The 16-year-old is 5'4", 150 pounds, with long dark brown hair and a green and black rose tattoo on her left hand. There were no clothing descriptions provided for either. Both girls were entered as missing juveniles in the national and state databases. They left home without permission. Los Angeles is now in its 6th day of protest in response to immigration raids in the area. Leaders there are still pushing back against President Trump's move to federalize the California National Guard and deploy hundreds of Marines. Now, as more demonstrations grow across the country, a member of his cabinet suggests National Guard orders could extend to other states.
As Los Angeles rolled into its 6th night of protest over President Donald Trump's immigration crackdown, 30 mayors and city officials stood in solidarity with L.A. Mayor Karen Bass at a news briefing Wednesday afternoon to address the recent immigration and custom enforcement raids and Trump's deployment of troops to the area.
We stand united in rejecting fear-based tactics that target immigrant communities and erode public trust.
700 Marines were mobilized to the Los Angeles area this week, in addition to the California National Guard troops federalized and activated over the weekend. Bass said what's happening in her city could be a sign of things to come.
We are part of a national experiment to determine how far the federal government can go in reaching in and taking over power from a governor, power from a local jurisdiction.
Protests against Trump's immigration policies are emerging in other cities, including New York, Chicago, and Atlanta. More are also planned into the weekend. Wednesday morning, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth suggested that Trump's order federalizing the state's National Guard was also intended to create a precedent so that playbook could be replicated in other states.
Part of it is getting ahead of a problem so that if in other places where law enforcement officers are threatened, we would have the capability to surge National Guard there if necessary.
California's Governor Gavin Newsom is seeking a restraining order to temporarily stop Trump from using the Marines and National Guard to enforce laws in the state. A hearing is set for Thursday.
Governor Greg Abbott deployed the Texas National Guard, he says, because he does not want Texas to become California. Governor Abbott said in a bill signing today, quote, "Texas is a law and order state, and we will use every tool that we can to ensure order across our state," unquote. He did not say what tactics would be used. The governor also said law enforcement officials are prepared to make arrests. Governor Abbott announced plans on X early this morning to deploy the National Guard across the state in anticipation of protests. As Texas sets to crack down on the recreational use of cannabis, state leaders are opting to invest in another plant with purported medicinal benefits. It's a psychedelic called ibogaine. Read this full Texas Tribune article on our website, crossroadstoday.com. Here's some of the top headlines you can read in the Port Lavaca Wave. The Port Lavaca City Council hosts a workshop to clarify its annual budget, and a dispatcher answers the calls of duty for almost 3 decades. You can read these stories and more at portlavacawave.com. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. hit the like button and click the notification bell. Then you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. And coming up on 25 News Now, after the NBA Finals, Health Secretary RFK Jr. names new CDC vaccine advisors. Also ahead, the world mourns the death of the Beach Boys leader, Brian Wilson. Today, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. appointed 8 new advisors to the CDC's Vaccine Advisory Panel. This comes just 2 days after he removed the previous 17-member panel, citing what he called conflicts of interest. The revamped panel, which helped shape national vaccine policy, includes several outspoken critics of the government's COVID-19 response. They are expected to meet later this month to review guidance on COVID-19 and HPV vaccines. When young children suddenly start having frequent loose stools, it could be diarrhea. Knowing how to manage it and when to see a doctor is key.
Diarrhea in children is common. Most of the time, it clears up on its own, usually within a few days. For mild cases without vomiting, the CDC recommends keeping your child on a normal diet. If there's vomiting too, you can offer small sips of an electrolyte fluid made for children until it stops. Then gradually reintroduce regular foods. Don't give anti-diarrhea medicines to children under the age of 6 unless a doctor approves. Most of the time, these meds are not needed and might even be harmful. And you can skip the old brat diet that involves limiting food to just bananas, rice, applesauce, and toast. Experts do not recommend it anymore. Kids should eat what they can tolerate, including fruits, veggies, carbs, and protein. With this Medical Minute, I'm Zoreen Shah.
Graduation season is winding down and we're celebrating the class of 2025 as they graduate. Congratulations to Kobe. The message says, congratulations on your kinder graduation, Kobe. Your family is so proud of you and you are so very loved. Congratulations to Tajori, a 2025 Victoria East High School graduate. The message says, Tajori Martin, we are proud of you and so proud of the young man you have become. Now starts a journey and pray you go a long way. Love, Mom, Dad, and brother Talon. You have until Friday to send in a photo and heartfelt message for your 2025 grad. We're featuring the grads on air and on social media. To send yours, come to crossroadstoday.com, then click the Entertainment tab, then click the Contest tab. Here are some of the top headlines you can read in the Quail Record. Westhoff ISD is expanding to include a high school, and a DeWitt County investigator finishes FBI training. You can read these stories and more at DeWittCountyToday.com. Creative genius Brian Wilson, co-founder of the Beach Boys, has died at the age of 82. The music icon's family announced his death on Wednesday, and here's a look back at the life and career of, yes indeed, a pop music icon.
He was the mastermind behind the Beach Boys' chart-topping success. Brian Wilson was one of the most influential composers in modern music. The Beach Boys' joyful pop emerged at the vanguard of the California sound in the early 60s. It was Wilson's creative genius that layered the band's 5 distinct voices into one perfect harmony.
I would just describe it as ethereal and masculine and feminine put together.
Wilson and the other Beach Boys rode their signature sound wave through a string of hits. Surfin' USA, I Get Around, Fun, 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 and Help Me Rhonda. By the mid-60s, Wilson experimented with new music and with drugs. He said an LSD experience helped him write the Beach Boys' 1966 magnum opus, Pet Sounds. Pet Sounds is widely considered one of the greatest albums of all time. During its studio sessions, the Beach Boys recorded Good Vibrations, later released as a single. It became one of the most influential tracks in rock history.
The night we cut the vocals at RCA was one of the highlights of my life, teaching the guys the parts, and it was just a departure from anything we'd ever done before. It was probably our masterpiece.
For 7 months, Wilson experimented with multiple layers of track, echoes, and reverb, using the studio as his instrument. Good Vibrations, produced at a cost of more than $400,000 in today's dollars, was dubbed a pocket symphony. But the drug-fueled creative blaze came at a cost. Wilson said he began hearing voices around the time he used LSD. By the 70s, his life had spiraled into an abyss of drug abuse, depression, and seclusion. He disappeared from public view and fell under the sway of discredited psychologist Eugene Landy. The 2015 biopic Love and Mercy dramatized Wilson's decline, his struggles with Landy, and his redemption with the help of second wife Melinda. Wilson returned to the studio in the late 80s. He released over a dozen solo albums in the decades that followed.
Very important life for many of us at my generation. Anyway, good evening, everybody. 78 degrees. We've got more stormy weather headed in our direction. It'll be here overnight. We only managed to get up to 86 today. We did have 6900s at the airport, but I do know we got more than that. Where is the rain? Well, that's one of them, and the other one's over there. We'll be talking about it after this. Well, good evening, everybody. Another night, another line of storms headed in our direction. Right about now, as you can see here, Port O'Connor is about to get hit by a couple of thunderstorms rolling in from the Gulf. So is Matagorda County, as you can see right about there. So this activity is one level that is coming in from the Gulf. But what we're really looking at is a new line of storms that's fired in central Texas. You can see it from Brady, Mason, all the way down, and almost getting into San Antonio right about there. So the line is pretty much probably 100 miles, not even 100 miles, 50 miles west of Austin. And so it'll be crossing the Austin-San Antonio corridor about midnight, and then it crosses over into our area. So yes, over to Giddings and LaGrange, and then down into the crossroads. So we do have another shot at getting a line of storms through the area, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, maybe 5 o'clock, and sort of hanging out for the rest of the day. This is the amount of rainfall that we've had since the last 12 hours. You can see Kerrville up here. We've had great rain, probably 2 to 4 inches up there, right in the watershed of the Guadalupe River, and I'm going to show you where the river goes. There it is. And so here's what we expect next, all right? There are some Gulf showers coming in here. But then right about here, we're going to start seeing the thunderstorms right there, start moving across Austin, moving into the crossroads right about there, maybe 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and then sort of hang around with all the instability in the atmosphere. We'll see pop-up showers for the early half of the day. It'll clear late in the afternoon, but if you're trying to get some work done outdoors, it's not going to be real helpful because the morning is going to be quite wet. Here's the low that's triggering all this activity. Where is it going? If it stays there, it's rain for sure. But you can see that we get to Thursday, it begins to move a little bit. And then by Friday, it starts moving up into Arkansas, and that's going to help sort of slow things down for us. Now, it'll still be showery as we get beyond this low, but it won't be as bad, and it'll be more isolated activity. So tomorrow, thunderstorms, especially early. Port Lavaca getting up to only about 84. Cuero, you're going to be looking at about 84 as well, but the thunder showers will be on and off. Now, because the ground is fairly soaked, almost saturated, any additional heavy downpours will cause very quick flooding. If you are going to be driving early in the morning, and you're doing low water crossings or river bottoms or even county roads that are in low spots, just be cautious in the morning hours until we can see what we're doing. So tomorrow is an alert day. We've got the stormy weather pretty much all day and then clearing in late in the evening. Friday could be the last hurrah. And the Saturday alert day, I may have to lower it because we think the storm will start moving out of the area. Therefore, this activity would be a little bit less. By Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, we're looking for more sun, clouds, and afternoon showers popping. So this will be, shall we say, not as heavy activity, but this next 48 hours is going to be a little on the soggy side, so you need to be cautious and be careful. We do have a flood watch for most of the counties north of Victoria, and when that rolls through, we could see another inch of rain here in the crossroads, and that's going to be very important for outdoor activities and getting around in the morning. So hopefully you found your umbrella by now. We'll be using it for the next 2 days. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that, put Crossroads Today on your phone. Now it is hurricane season, and what happens when the storm hits? Does the power go out? Will your family be ready? Stay storm ready with Aztec Ford in Goliad. We're giving you a chance to win a generator to keep your home powered when you need it most. It's quick, it's easy, and it could save you big when the lights go out, if the lights go out in the next storm. So go to crossroadstoday.com now to register for the Storm Ready Power Giveaway, proudly sponsored by Aztec Ford in Goliad. Click the menu on the website at the top of Crossroads Today. Click on Entertainment. The 3 bars, then entertainment, and then look for contests, and then you'll see that graphic in front of you which says Storm Ready Power. Click on that, enter your email, and you could be a winner. So best of luck to you. And right about now, we'll toss it over to Maxwell with sports.
That's right, Mac. And Full Force Gym is ready to prepare for Nationals next week there in Providence, Rhode Island. We'll hear from some of the gymnasts coming up in sports. In a couple days, Full Force Gym will head over to U.S. National Championships in Providence, Rhode Island. It'll be from June 16 to the 22nd, and Full Force is returning 3 national champions in Jaden McCarter, Kendall Helms, and River Taylor to this year's Nationals for trampoline and tumbling before they attend Rhode Island there next week. So I had a chance earlier today to speak with 2 of the national champs in Kendall and River to see what their final preparations are going into next week's competition.
Nervous. Won last year, so I kind of want to live up to that. I want to do my passes and hope for the best.
Passes feel good, and because I changed my double mini passes.
Now, Chad Ganaway is an athlete there in Nationals for the past 24 years. He's looking to add 2 more there. He's got Allie Balfman and Elizabeth Kramer also participating. So see if they can do well there next week in Rhode Island to represent Full Force. Now over to football action where this weekend we'll have All-State All-Star game. It's going to be held this Saturday there in Stafford, Texas. And before this game takes place this Saturday, caught up with 3 of the All-Stars there in Darius Garcia, Jill Vargas, and Devin McKinney about how they're feeling going into this All-Star game this weekend.
And just put in work, cause the hard work will pay off. So just keep working out and paying attention.
Definitely academics. Academics is key, and I'm really just trying to get it on JV because I know it's kind of hard to make it varsity as a freshman, but academics is always first.
From the older guys and just seeing what they do and just watch from the sideline and be ready when my name is called out.
Now, all 3 of these stars are pumped up for this week's All-Star game. Like I mentioned, it'll be in Stafford, Texas. And again, all these guys will also be going to West there. They're heading into their freshman year of high school there in 2 months. Now over to the Generals. They battled the Seguin River Monsters there tonight. It was Warriors weekend game that was happening. And again, they had a players auction early before the game with all the players' names. The people won big money and awards. And again, you see them right there getting the auction prize and everything else. Because then also the jerseys they were in honor of Bradley Krunzer, who forcibly committed suicide there last year. But that didn't stop the Generals, right? Because they got some big production. Again, how about the TCL player of the week there in Dawson Park? He had a 2 RBI double in the 8th inning and got the 2 RBI plays, and guess what? They also got the starting pitcher, Josh Prieto, had 6 Ks tonight. They helped the Generals out. He would get the win, and again, Tag Dillard would get the save there for the Generals. So they won 8-2. They're going to be back on the road there tomorrow night there at Seguin. It'll be at 7 p.m. Over to NCAA Track and Field Championships, which begun tonight there at Oregon there in Eugene. In men's Day 1 competition, we had 2 athletes here from the Crossroads, Ernest Campbell and Goliath's Cutler Zamzow. And again, for Campbell, he competed in the 4x100 meter relay and the open 100 meter dash. And Zamzow competed in the 4x400 meter relay and the open 400 meter dash. And for Campbell, he placed in 6th place in the heat, and he had a time there of 39.23 seconds. Then in the open 100 meter dash, he finished in 7th place with a time of 10.3 seconds. And then for Zamzow, he had a 45.65 there for his 400 in the 4x400 there. They finished there in 6th. So all those times I mentioned, for order to qualify for Friday, you had to be in the top 9 there to advance, and 2 top times from each heat and the 3 fastest times to get in there. So unfortunately for Campbell there and Zamzow, they will not be able to go into the championships going into Friday night. And that's going to do it here in sports. Don, back to you.
Max, thank you, and stay with us coming up on 25 News now. After the NBA Finals, we'll take a last look at your weather. Plus, an EMS crew in Tennessee makes an unexpected catch on their ambulance roof.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Kimmel. Tonight, Sam Rockwell, Lennon Doyle, and music from Valerie June. So get your affairs in order and join us after the late news on Jimmy Kimmel Live.
A Tennessee EMS crew was on its way back to its home base when they heard a loud thud and then a few more thuds on the roof of their ambulance. They pulled over to find out what had happened. That's when they found a fish, a bluegill, still alive on the roof of the cab of the ambulance. The crew put the fish in water to take it back to a nearby river, but the fish did not survive.
Well, after that thud.
Yeah, double thud. Hey, today Pope Leo was spotted wearing a Chicago White Sox hat. During his weekly appearance at St. Peter's Square, he was taking a picture with a newly married couple at the time. The Pontiff is a known White Sox fan. When he was announced as Pope, his brother revealed the Chicago native supports the White Sox over the Cubs. Well, I have some bad news for the Pontiff tonight. Final score, White Sox 2, Astros 10. So that's good news for the fans there for the Astros, and good news for people who want to know about hurricanes. The Hurricane Tracking Guide 2025 is here. Stay prepared and stay safe. Pick up your free copy at these locations: Full of Pep in Cuero, El Campo Cycle Center, Palace Bingo in Victoria, Coastal Bend College in Beeville, Wendt Services in Victoria, Victoria All Sports, and Aztec Ford in Goliad. Don't wait. Get yours today. Now, we're not worried about the hurricanes right now. We are worried about what you call this blob coming our way.
A blob of thunderstorms is headed in our direction. So for the fourth night in a row, we're going to be getting stormy weather overnight. Where is it? It's up in Austin right now. It's going to be crossing I-35 and following the same path as a previous storm. So tomorrow morning, you're going to be dealing with thunder showers and some heavy rain. Now we're at a situation where the ground is fairly saturated, so any kind of heavy rain problem is going to give us some quick flooding. So many of the counties in the crossroads north of Victoria are already under a flash flood watch. So do be cautious if you're traveling early in the morning when you can't see the road so well, because the rain might have gotten to that place. So do be cautious. Alert flags for at least 2 more days.
Take your time out there on the roads. And finally tonight, scientists identified a previously unknown 86 million year old dinosaur species. They named it the Dragon Prince of Mongolia. The dinosaur was small compared to its larger relatives, such as the Tyrannosaurus rex. In fact, this newly identified species is the closest known ancestor of the T-Rex. And it took them this long. This long.
They had the bones, but they didn't know what it was. Is that right? Is that it?
No bones about it. I think it should take a long time to do that.
To find, yeah.
Well, it's hard to figure it out from one bone. It's like, how many millions of years old is this thing?
On their pace, we could be like the dinosaurs. Go on, out of here. Hey, thanks for joining us. Join 25 News Now, sunrise at 5 a.m. Jimmy Kimmel Live starts now.